Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. For months now, one of the major battle points, battlefronts in Ukraine has been the city of Soledar. As of yesterday, Soledar has fallen. Let me make this clear that this was not the Russian military, formal military, that took Soledar. This was the Wagner forces, which is, as I pointed out before, they are a private military company. In other words, mercenaries, Russian mercenaries. As such, the Wagners do not have their own heavy artillery, air support, drones, howitzers, missile launchers, etc. So any of that they may utilize is equipment that they wind up capturing along the way. And even then, the equipment breaks. Unless the spare parts are sitting around, they don't have it. And they may not have the training to repair that equipment. If they run out of ammunition for that equipment, well, they're going to abandon it, or more precisely, they're going to destroy it because they don't want to leave intact equipment behind that's going to come back and bite them in the rear at a later time, which that is actually pretty normal. That's a pretty normal tactic for any military. You utilize what you've got, and if you have to abandon it at all, you have the tendency to destroy it so it cannot be used against you later. Now, there was some talk a week or two ago that Soledar had already fallen, but the Wagners actually said at that time, no, we have not taken the city, and we are not going to release a statement too early because more Ukrainian reinforcements could come in and the situation could change. We expect to be able to take it. We will release a statement when it happens. So that is what they've done. And even Ukraine, for the most part, is admitting that Soledar has fallen. And, of course, some Western media is claiming that there's still a significant resistance in Soledar, which is really just not true. A lot of Ukrainian forces are salt mines in Soledar, and several hundred, at least, Ukrainians took refuge in those salt mines. Well, the Wagners have already released videos of them going down into these salt mines. They didn't go any further than like the upper levels. And there's a lot of controversy regarding these mines. And let me go to this here. I'm going to show you. Here we go. All right, so here is Soledar, and according to the reports from the Wagners, this is it. They have taken, basically the entire thing here, except for maybe this office complex up here, and at the top. But that is basically abandoned at this point. All right, so there are these rumors that there are tunnels that go from these salt mines. There's one right under the city and one right here. This is another salt mine. There are rumors that there are tunnels that run for miles to other cities, including Krasnohora, the next city down here, and other cities. Here's the thing. Let me take this way. All right. There were an estimated 200 Ukrainians in the salt mines. And Ukraine sent more forces in to try to retract the 200 Ukrainians in the salt mines, and in the process, they lost 200 soldiers. Why are you going to send 200 soldiers, lose 200 soldiers, to retrieve 200 soldiers? Especially if you're going to send them over ground, above ground, if you've got tunnels from which more forces can be sent in, or from which those soldiers in the tunnels could actually evacuate. Why would you do that? So I'm calling bullshit on this one. There are also rumors of the possibility that there are a lot more Ukrainians in those salt mines, which could pose a danger at some point. That's easy enough to deal with. Collapse the tunnels at the surface level. That traps them inside. But they've been given a chance to surrender. This does bring back memories of the Azovstal steel plant. There's a whole lot to unpack here. At the Azovstal steel plant, there were thousands of people in the underground tunnels there, and Ukraine did not send any external forces in to retrieve them. And then instead, they wound up surrendering. Then there was a chemical plant, and the same thing happened. Why would Ukraine suddenly be so concerned about these 200 soldiers or so that are in these tunnels? Well, there's also rumors that there is a lot of heavy equipment, military equipment in these tunnels in the salt mines. Well, if there's all this heavy equipment, why hasn't it been used? Unless what is being kept there is something different entirely. Having lived in New Mexico, I don't know if these salt mines at Soledar are active salt mines. But having lived in New Mexico, you know what they use one large old salt mine for? Storage of radioactive waste. Now, it hasn't been too long ago that Russia was saying that Ukraine was planning on building a dirty bomb. Well, if you store radioactive waste in salt mines because it's dry, it's arid, it's temperature stable, is it possible that radioactive waste or radioactive materials are being stored in those salt mines? Anything is possible. I'm not saying this is a reality, but if I draw that correlation, it does bring a big question to mind. So I'm only bringing up the question, the possibility, another possibility. Why would they be sending people in to save 200 people when they let 2,000 people in Azovstal just left them abandoned? No supplies, no equipment, no weaponry, no ammo, no food and water. And all of a sudden, this becomes a priority enough that you're sacrificing more forces. I have a lot of questions about this, and I think they're valid questions. Now, Soledar still remains. There is still combat going on there. The forces that have left the city have pulled over to the other side of these railroad tracks here, and possibly over to the other side of this river. And this railroad is a very important target. I think that is more of an issue. They had to take Soledar to be able to take this railroad. Why is the railroad important? Because this railroad supply is a supply route for Bakhmut. Down here to Krasnohora, and further down is Bakhmut. Where is Bakhmut? All right. It's somewhere down here. There's Bakhmut. Bakhmut is the major, target here. Now, the fighting in Bakhmut has been the largest battle that's going on, and it is what has been described as a meat grinder for Ukrainian forces. And Bakhmut is not far from falling, but taking Soledar was a big step in that direction. They will still have to take Krasnohora, which is in between, as you saw on the map, but that one is a lot less defended than Soledar was. Now, that railroad also acts as a supply route to and from Seversk, city further north of Soledar, which Russia had actually taken control of early in this conflict, but had withdrawn from it because it was not strategically relevant enough at that time to warrant the risk to manpower and equipment then. But at this point in the game, then it may be very much it may be a lot more relevant at this time. The balance of heavy weaponry may very well determine how quickly and in what way things progress from here. Because, if to cut off these supply routes, going from here, gonna back out a little bit. Okay, let me back out from this. All right, you can see where this train route goes. It goes all the way up here, but that is a gray zone there. But that, there are different routes here leading together, but if you this big crossroads here by Krasnohora is going to be a major strategic target. So if you take it into account that if the Ukrainians have a lot of heavy weaponry on the other side of this river here by Soledar, it's going to be a lot more difficult for the Wagners to take that if they're saying that they don't have their own heavy weaponry. And Bakhmut also is being fought by the Wagners, which is why so much of this is happening in seeming slow motion. But these are, ground mercenaries that are taking these cities that are highly reinforced with heavy weaponry, with tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian troops, and yet they're still taking it. I have mentioned before that the Wagners have not had any instances of desertions reported. Of course, they are a mercenary group. They're highly secretive. Any desertions or any cases of surrender. On one hand, that can say something extremely positive about them. On the other hand, it could also be an indication that they have the same policies, that the Ukrainian military does, that if you want to surrender or desert, they may kill you on the spot. That's highly likely. They want to keep their movements secret. They don't want anybody being, captured or whatever that has knowledge of their tactics and their movements. So I'm not in favor of that on either side, but at the same time, it's in wartime. That absolutely happens on all sides. If you desert the U.S. military, you're considered a traitor. You can be executed or sent to prison for life. You may just be subjected more quietly here, but you may well be subjected to a battlefield execution. It does happen. You know it happens. We've heard of it happening. It's a reality. I'm not in favor of it, but it is a reality. All right, so since since I think my last video, it has been announced that I think Poland is sending Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. And then I think Germany is sending them too also. But the combined number of these, and these are main battle tanks, but these are main battle tanks that have been defeated by ISIS and Yemeni Houthi rebels. So forget all this stuff about them being, immortal or whatever, because that's just not true. And the number of these, all of the tanks, the armored personnel carriers, and everything, I defer to you watching the new Atlas, who covers this in extreme detail, but this is really barely enough to supply one brigade. Ukraine has lost at least 6 to 7 brigades, which is tens of thousands of soldiers per brigade. When you think about military structure, you go from, company to, from platoon to company to battalion to brigade to division. And there are usually like 4 brigades in a division. So if you've lost 7 brigades, lost almost 2 divisions. But we're never, I doubt that we're ever going to hear the true death toll from all of this. We're never going to hear the true numbers. I just want this to be over. With each city that falls, with each action that is taken, I keep hoping that it's going to wind up with peace negotiations. Negotiations do not mean surrender. It means making an agreement. Giving up part of your territory to save millions of people, to keep from sending your own people into a meat grinder in exchange for lines on a map. I find that completely reasonable. That's a good trade. Anyway, but it's not going to happen, and I know it. I keep crossing my fingers. I keep hoping. And I hope, that you are hoping the same thing with me. All right. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign. And I will catch you in the next one. Have a good day.